Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector, and like many gamers out there, I have some serious concerns with the future of video games, gaming, and the industry as a whole in terms of what they're going to be giving us as the consumers. See, I grew up in a time where video games actually felt like they were being created by people who played them. Video games were simple. They weren't as complex. They didn't have as many features and patches and downloads and uploads and all these little nooks and crannies that make gaming today just seem so complicated. And it seems as we move further and further into the future, things are continuing to get more and more complicated, when the hobby itself is really supposed to be something simple and easy for its consumers to enjoy. And so now here we are at the end of 2024 going into 2025, and I have some concerns about what I can expect from gaming companies and what they deliver to us as gamers and collectors. And I'm going to talk about a few of those here in this video today. The first one being the lack of ingenuity or innovation. And what do I mean when I say that? What I mean is that it seems that, and I've mentioned this on the channel before, that companies are doing less and less to wow the end user. I remember there was a time where with each succeeding generation, there was a wow factor. And that wow factor might have been due to massively improved graphics, or just completely out of the box ideas when it comes to some of the games that were produced, a brand new spin or a brand new twist on a genre that we had never seen before. There was always something new that felt really fresh, that felt like we had never seen it before, we had never played it before. And that feeling is something that's severely lacking in gaming today. It's very rare that we get a game today that feels like something we've never seen before. It's very rare that we get a game that gives us that feeling that there's something new, a breath of fresh air when it comes to the gaming experience. It's a very, very rare occasion. And that's due in part to, I think, the focus that companies have when they're creating these games. There's a lot of focus and attention on marketing. There's a lot of focus and attention on hardware, but the hardware doesn't seem to deliver the experience that it delivered us 10, 15, 20 years ago. If we look at the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 5 is marked by improved ray tracing, AI enhanced graphics, and basically more horsepower in the unit. But outside of that, I don't know if there's anything that gives the end user that wow factor and makes them feel like they've taken a genuine leap from one generation to the next. It definitely doesn't feel that way. And then even when you look at some of the games that we've been given, it doesn't feel like we've gotten anything really superior from what we got or what we saw in the last generation. As a matter of fact, a lot of the older games are just being remade or remastered and ported to the newest system. A lot of people feel like there are no games worth buying for the current generations, and the ones that we do get just feel like stale remixes of old games that we've seen before. And this is really unfortunate considering how much companies are asking us consumers to pay for these next generation devices. $5, $6, $7, $8, $1,000 for some of this hardware that we're being given. And the argument that a lot of people make is that, well, when you adjust for inflation, we're actually paying less than we paid before. But I personally don't like the fact that we're in such high inflation, and that doesn't make me feel any better about spending $1,000 on a console or a system that isn't giving me or making me feel like I'm having a genuinely new experience. And so that's a big concern going into the future when we look at these consoles. What is PlayStation? What is Nintendo? What is Microsoft going to do to make me as a gamer feel like I'm having a brand new experience. We've already tapped into the virtual reality thing, and I'm not sure how successful that's been. I haven't done the research to see, how satisfied or how well the virtual reality initiatives have done. I know it's something that Nintendo hasn't really dove too deep into, and I'm not sure if Microsoft has made a play for that either. But I know Sony has definitely done the whole virtual reality thing, and I guess that's still something that, there's still room for potential there, depending on how much they can improve the technology and the hardware to create more lifelike experiences. But that is yet to be seen, and I guess we'll see how that plays out in the future. The next concern that I have when it comes to video games is a similar concern that I have when it comes to other forms of media, like movies and music. And that's video games being used as a medium to push any particular agenda. And to me, it doesn't matter what that agenda is. I do not feel like video games should be a medium for any type of agenda or propaganda to be pushed. And this is something that we're seeing happening, and we've been seeing it happen for some time now, where when you put in a video game, as you start to play it, you can quickly see the underlying message that the game is trying to convey. It almost seems like games these days, through their stories, are trying to convince you of some type of ideal or some type of a thought process that you should have. And in a way, you have one group of the gaming community that feels like they're being attacked, and it's really not catering to the core gaming audience. It's really off-putting, and it's turning a lot of gamers off when they feel like they're being kind of force-fed some type of message through the story of some video game. I do not feel like all social, political issues and ideas should be crammed into video games. I don't think that I don't think that there should be a push, or that there should be a situation where we have to have some type of inclusion or representation of every facet of society in every single video game. There are some games that just don't warrant it. It doesn't make sense to do it. It doesn't make sense for it to be there. If I'm playing a game about a samurai in Japan in the 60s and 70s, to see a random black guy just show up and in the game, for some reason, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm black myself. It just wouldn't make sense to me, though. It would kind of be like odd for me to see something like that. And so I think the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion thing, I'm a major supporter of that. I think it has to be done right. I think it has to be done tactfully. And I think when you try to cram everything into a game, it just winds up being off-putting. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't feel original to the story. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel authentic. And I think when you try to push agendas, and when you try to cram propaganda into a game, the player can tell that it's not authentic to the game. They can feel the idea that they're being force-fed a message, and I don't think anyone's into that. And again, we've seen that not just in video games, but we've seen it also in movies. We've seen it in TV shows and music. And this is why I think some of the older generation, maybe millennials and some Gen Xers, are kind of off put by that, because it's something that we can pick up on pretty quickly, and we're not huge fans of it. So that too is a big concern when it comes to the future of video games and what we can expect. I just want to keep it simple. Let the story be about the story. Keep the main thing the main thing. If the game is about a cyborg who has to travel to another planet to find a computer chip that will save his race, focus on that. Let's not include all these other tropes and all these other ideas and cram them into the game to satisfy someone's agenda. Let's keep it about the cyborg. Let's keep it about saving the planet. And I think fans from all over will enjoy that. Fans will enjoy it regardless of where they come from, regardless of their race, sex, nationality, origin, any of those things. They will enjoy it. So I think that's another thing that I'm hoping doesn't, continue to prevail as we go into the future of gaming. The last concern, and it's not the last concern, but it's the third concern, and it's a concern that we've been discussing for quite some time now, is the movement away from physical. My hopes are that in the future we do not hit a point where we truly lose all things physical, where physical games, physical consoles, physical controllers, where these things no longer exist, and we are in a fully remote environment, or in an environment where we're controlling characters with the motions of our hands and with our thoughts, or whatever technology allows us in the future. I'm all about pushing the envelope of technology, and as a person who does want to see a new experience in ingenuity and things like that, I also don't want to lose some of the core building blocks of what made gaming fun, and that's the very tactile nature of video games. Pressing buttons, playing discs, and really having that staying power, that control via owning physical media. There's something about buying a game, buying a disc, buying a cartridge, and know that as long as you've paid for it, it's going to be in your possession. No one can come and just take it from you in the middle of the night because a license expired or an agreement ended or whatever the case may be. And I think the physical concern is something that I don't really need to harp on too long, because it's something that's constantly debated. We constantly talk about it in the gaming community, and I think it's something that we'll continue to talk about as we move closer into the digital age. But overall, I mean, if these three main issues can be properly addressed by gaming corporations, I think the future of gaming is bright. But if we can't really address some of these things, it makes me really concerned and really nervous about what the gaming experience will be like for my kids, should they choose to play video games in the future. And this is a big part of the reason why I do hold on to my Nintendos, to my original PlayStations and things like that, because I want them to be able to see the beauty of the simplicity of gaming, and how simple and fun games used to be when I was a kid. But let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if I'm way off here. Let me know if you share any of these concerns, or if I have nothing to be concerned about. And I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.